Hey guys, and this is Mental Health Month, so I thought I would make a video to address some aspects of this or something that I felt like I should get across. Okay, I'm not sure where we're going to go today with this, okay? When I think about mental health and I think about everything that happens in all over the country, I suppose, not just Limerick, um, it's obviously saddening, and also it feels like, or it sounds like, a stuckness, like uh, trapped energy, or this just limitation, or this ceiling that some people seem to meet, and maybe they feel the only way is out. Okay? Um, these people, what if these people were highly sensitive and highly intuitive? And what if these people who took their lives felt everything? What if they absorbed everything? What if they were highly intuitive in terms of picking up or sensing other people's energies? And what if they're picking up more than they want to pick up? If you know what I'm saying. So what if they're like sponges? What if they don't have the information to allow them to make a different choice in that moment? What if they feel that is the only direction that they can go? If they knew they had a different choice, or there was a different choice available for them to make, then they could make that. They could also make the choice to make this second choice or make the first one. That choice again is theirs, but at least they would know that there was another choice available. So how do we get across to these people? We don't know who they are. We don't know who's thinking about this in this exact moment. Maybe somebody who will watch this is thinking about this, and maybe this could be something that would offer them another choice, and that would be absolutely amazing. So what do we do to educate these people in terms of a different choice? And that would be awareness. That would be putting things out there like this video and other videos and all the information that's out there. And in particular, all the activity that's happening this month in terms of creating awareness around mental health and letting people know that there is help there for them. There is help there if they choose it. So the optimum is them to choose something different than ending their lives, and it is a real tragedy when they don't know that they have that choice. We can say that, everybody knows that they have choices in life, and yet none of us can say that we know what that feels like to be in that moment and to maybe really truly believe that they don't have that choice, or that choice isn't out there and isn't available. And the other point from another video I've made is about support. One aspect to a person being in that situation may be going that step further. So we all can play a huge part in terms of supporting other people. Everybody in this moment probably knows of somebody that they could support in a more creative way, possibly showing them some tool that they've learned, or offering maybe some gem of knowledge that they have come upon themselves that day, or some kind of awareness that they can pass on to somebody else. So if you know of somebody today that could benefit from that, then please share it, just like I'm sharing this video. Thanks, guys. Okay, I've just realized where this video is headed. I had an experience about what about 2011, I think. Um, and this was in terms of what we're talking about here today. I was traveling home at about 3 or 4 in the morning by car. I was driving with my friend Hannah, and we came upon something that looked a bit odd. Okay, and I don't know how we saw it. Okay, but we both saw something at the same time. There's an area in Limerick City that it's underneath kind of a small bridge, and it's kind of a dark area. And we both spotted a girl who was standing over the edge of I suppose, the side of the river where, it just kind of drops off into the river. There's a ladder that goes down into the river, okay? So she had gotten over this side and she was standing on the other side, and she was facing the river and holding on behind. So she was, going to jump into the river. Now we pulled in immediately, and my friend had ran back to find the patrollers that were working that night that we'd seen further up the road in their high vis. And I then approached the girl, and I suppose I was kind of trying to gradually move towards her, because I didn't know what she, how committed she was to the act, or if I had moved suddenly, would she have jumped? So I suppose I kind of crept around, but let her know that I was coming from the side. And I still remember her to this day. I still remember every inch of what it looked like and what she was wearing. She had been out the night before, so she was all dressed up. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl, and a dressing gown on over, lovely sparkly earrings. Really lovely girl, and she had been crying a lot. She told me that she was going to jump into the river because she had, that night, herself and her friends hadn't gotten into a nightclub. So obviously there was some issue on the door with the doormen and themselves, and that she said that she was the cause of something that happened there, and her friends couldn't get in, and they were annoyed at her. And this was the reason that she was telling me. Now, obviously, there's maybe a world of things behind that, but this was the straw, This was the thing that had made her go home that night, leave her house she was fully dressed up with her dressing gown on, leave her house and walk in to town, and to climb up over that ladder and be hanging on from behind. So obviously this was a very, very big event, really, for her and for me, I suppose, coming upon it. I stayed with her. It took some time for the guys to come. I stayed with her and just started to creep closer and closer, until I was right beside her. She was still a bit ahead because she was out over the river. And I stayed with her, and I don't even remember what we talked about, but I remember just being there and asking her questions and just looking and assessing the whole situation, looking into the river, looking at the different areas, looking to see what could be a possibility in that moment, and trying to gauge her as she cried, when she talked about different things. But it was obviously a very big moment, and I did look upon it, and at one point I was thinking, okay, well, if you jump in there, then I can jump in there. And in that moment I was like, I'm going to go in after you, and we're both coming out, and at the time I, maybe the people in the college and stuff like that would have been worried about me even thinking that I would do that to help somebody else. And I don't know, I do like to be there with somebody, and maybe that was all that was required in that moment. for her, and we'll never know what would have happened other than that, you know. Um, what I can say is that on that night, I know that she was alive, that she went home alive, and it was a big event for all of us, really. Um, she then went with the patrollers, and they told me that they would bring her to the appropriate centres and notify the appropriate people in order for her to become safe and well. Um, and that was my experience of that. And in that moment, when I was there with her, you know, I could nearly sense everything that was happening, and in me, I suppose I was trying to communicate to her, I'm sure in some way, that there's so much more, do you know? And I don't know what it was that brought her back in on that specific night, or that she what where she found what she found to bring herself back in that space or in that environment, um, and that was my experience. So if you do know of anybody that has any thoughts or feelings, or you sense something from them that they may be in some difficulty, then maybe a few minutes of your time is what's required, or to um, inform them that they can go to somebody who is qualified, or a centre or a group of people, or whatever it may be, you know, um, in terms of anything. If you have a sense of anything, just please go out of your comfort zone maybe and move forward. And that is definitely something that I would have experienced on that night, coming out of my comfort zone, that I had maybe 5 minutes before that, you know, and making a choice in that moment to stop and to stay and to go when it was appropriate and that safety measures were put in place. So, okay, guys, thanks for listening and allowing me to share that. Um, and I wish for you a safe and peaceful evening. Thanks.